Well, folks, we're here yet again. It's been a long week, and now it's time for Ben After Dark. The crowd grows. So, this week, Joe Biden headed over to Normandy to commemorate the 80th anniversary of D-Day. As you know, he turned 32 on that day back in 1944. It's a solemn occasion marked by reverence, dignity, and perhaps our president pooping himself.
Distinguished guests, please welcome the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin.
This particular clip of the president doing a duty followed this clip of Joe Biden arriving at Omaha Beach and immediately doing his best imitation of John Travolta being confused in Pulp Fiction.
Vincent.
Oh yeah, and then Biden had to be led away for a Code Brown cleanup by Dr. Jill, while French President Emmanuel Macron stayed behind to greet World War II veterans. This is pretty humiliating for America. On a day designed to mark the bravery of young men charging onto beaches to take out brown shirts, we sent an old man to stagger onto a beach to brown his pants. Yes, Joe Biden somehow looks and acts older than men 20 years his senior, who ran into actual gunfire from actual Nazis. That is where we are. If Donald Trump does not hang the nickname Poopin' Joe on Biden this week, I don't even know whether we live in America anymore. This week, the Wall Street Journal did a piece on Biden pointing out that he was slipping. The White House pushed back by saying that behind closed doors, Joe Biden is working out quantum mechanics formulae and windmill dunking on Dikembe Mutombo. It turns out nobody believes this, mainly because we can all watch while he publicly poops himself. That Wall Street Journal interview came out the same week that a Time magazine interview appeared, in which Biden mixed up Russia and Ukraine, Russia and China, Taiwan and South Korea, and then challenged the reporter to a fight. I wish I were kidding. I'm not even kidding. The good news for Biden is that the staff at Time performed more favors for him than Stormy did for Trump. He's going to have to issue a hush money payoff for that particular cover story. But back to D-Day. To commemorate D-Day, failed presidential candidate Hillary Clinton sent out a classic tweet. No, not that one. She said, 80 years ago today, thousands of brave Americans fought to protect democracy on the shores of Normandy. This November, all we have to do is vote. Yes, according to Hillary Clinton, you, standing in line with your Cheetos and Coke, are just like the 19-year-old men who watched their friends blown to pieces by Nazi mortars. You heroes, you. Yes, in our modern world, true heroism is you doing you. When you do that, you're preserving democracy. You're the real hero. I mean, Joe Biden says as much. What does bravery look like to Joe Biden? Let's quote the man himself. On Transgender Day of Visibility, we celebrate the strength, joy, and absolute courage of some of the bravest people I know. Yes, true bravery is not taking a bullet for freedom. It's taking a double mastectomy in the line of so much bravery. But back to Hillary's bizarre tweet. Hillary's real point, of course, is that Donald Trump is Hitler. Big orange Hitler. The only difference is the mustache. This is ridiculous, but it's par for the course for this campaign, which is deeply offended by Donald Trump's refusal to admit his abiding guilt for something or other. A felony, I guess, or 34 felonies, or a series of trumped-up charges from a partisan DA in a jurisdiction where Donald Trump won like 2 votes. They're so offended by Donald Trump. How dare Donald Trump question the justice system? It would be insane to do something like that, to undermine the rule of law. We'll get to more on this in just a moment. First, there's recently been some monumental news nobody's talking about. For the first time in U.S. history, the interest we pay on our national debt surpassed every individual budget item except for Social Security. This means the United States now spends more on interest than on national defense or even Medicare. It's disgraceful. It's only going to get worse over time, which is why savvy investors, central banks, and concerned savers are turning to gold, because it's not tied to the inflated U.S. dollar. You can do the same with the help of Birch Gold. For over 20 years, Birch Gold Group has helped thousands of Americans protect their savings by converting an IRA or 401k into an IRA in physical gold. To learn more, text BEN to 989898. Claim your free, no-obligation info kit on gold. Birch Gold has earned my trust with their education-first approach, as well as the trust of thousands of other happy customers. Protect your savings today. Text BEN to 989898. Diversification is just a smart business strategy in a time where the economy is really on the rocks, where it looks like inflation is basically baked into the cake. Diversifying by investing in a thing that has not been worth zero ever would be a smart move. Head on over to Birch Gold right now. Text BEN to 989898 to get started. Well, in fact, Democrats say they're particularly angry that Trump said that turnabout might be fair play, that if Democrats are going to prosecute their political opponents, they might not like the other side of that particular coin. The Biden campaign put out a statement reading, reeling and increasingly unhinged from his own felony convictions, Trump raising plans to jail his political opponents is just the latest proof that he will do anything to regain power, preserve his own freedom, and seek revenge on anyone who opposes him. Apparently, mirrors are not available at the White House, mainly because they scare Joe Biden. Who is that crazy old man in that window there? Biden is literally trying to jail his political opponent, but Trump is the tyrant. I would say this is like the pot calling the kettle black, except that everyone knows that if you don't vote for Biden, you ain't black. Meanwhile, in other Joe Biden-related law enforcement news, Hunter Biden, the smartest man Joe Biden says he knows, is on trial for lying on his federal gun background check. Biden apparently said he was not a drug user on his form. As it turns out, he wasn't a drug user. His body is 80% composed of drugs. The drugs were a Hunter Biden user. Hunter was doing a lot of crack at this particular time with his brother's widow, because this is a very solid family. He was also apparently texting his stepmom, Jill, some pretty nasty things like, quote, "The drunkest I've ever been is still smarter than you could ever even comprehend, and you're a shut grammar teacher that wouldn't survive one class in an Ivy League graduate program." How dare he say such obviously true things to an actual doctor? Well, as they say, in crack veritas. In any case, Biden's defense is that he wasn't lying on his gun form. When asked if he abused drugs on the gun form, he said no, because he hadn't used that day. Really? This is awesome, because when OJ was tried for murder and he said he didn't do it, he also meant he didn't do it on that day. Hunter must have learned that at Yale Law School, where he actually went. In any case, Hunter won't go to jail. After all, the trial's in Wilmington, Delaware, a town his father basically owns. This case will be made to disappear, just like Ellen Page. In other news, it's the holiest month of the year, meaning the month in which the most holes are used. Pride Month. That means it's time for every major corporation to post a Pride Progress flag on their logos, except in the Middle East, where the corporations post pictures of gay people being thrown off buildings. In honor of Pride Month, everything and everyone must be bedazzled with endless gouts of rainbow vomit. That includes the new Star Wars series. Disney is so committed to its radical social politics, it's ready to take the most iconic IP in movie history, Star Wars, and put a chick in it and make her gay. No, but actually, it's not even a joke. There's a new Star Wars series on Disney Plus. It's called The Acolyte. Apparently, I can't let my kids watch it, because according to the writer, a lesbian, and the star, a non-binary lesbian, which doesn't even make sense, the series is, wait for it, super gay. So gay. The gayest.
This is, I would say, arguably the gayest Star Wars, I think, by a considerable margin. And are you excited about that? Are you bracing yourself?
Star Wars. Not the
It's pretty gay, let's be honest.
I think that Star Wars is so gay already.
Okay.
I mean, have you seen the fits? We'd be like, look how gay this is, and then send each other a reference photo.
And are you telling me, with a straight face, that C-3PO is straight?
Yes, according to these two geniuses, in whose trustworthy hands Disney has placed the most iconic IP of all time, Star Wars was always gay. You remember those steamy scenes between Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine? Or that time Chewbacca got jiggy with Yoda? But the real message here is simple. Disney doesn't want your money. They want to browbeat you into handing your kids over to them. You see, the kids must be indoctrinated. It's very important. They have to be informed that sometimes golden robots want to have sex with other smaller robots of the same gender identity. It's super important, you guys. Diversity! You have to love it. And if you hate all of this, you're toxic fandom. If you hated Rose Tico because she's a terrible character, you're toxic fandom. If you think Rey was a Mary Jane, you're toxic fandom. If you think Kylo Ren was a cheap Darth Vader knockoff, you're toxic fandom. If you are unhappy that Disney killed off every awesome Star Wars character to make a quick buck, you are toxic fandom. So you're going to watch these droids and you're going to love it. And if you don't love it, you'll be made to watch more of the same forever. That's Pride Month, you see. Rainbow Birkenstocks stamping on a human face forever. We'll get to more on this in just one moment. First, June 6th marks the 80th anniversary of the Allied invasion of Normandy, more commonly known as D-Day. Our good friends at Black Rifle Coffee are doing something truly special to commemorate the incredible men who stormed those beaches by land, air, and sea 80 years ago. Evan Hafer and his team will make a series of parachute jumps into Normandy from June 4th to June 6th, fully decked out in World War II-era uniforms. As time marches on, the Black Rifle Coffee crew is making sure they do their part to honor the last of the greatest generation who fought at D-Day while they're still with us. Black Rifle Coffee is a veteran-founded, veteran-run company. It proudly serves coffee and culture to people who love the country. A portion of every single purchase made at blackriflecoffee.com supports veterans and first responder causes. From providing funding and equipment to first responders to helping veterans fight cancer, your money goes a long way toward giving back to those who serve our nation. Visit blackriflecoffee.com to join us and the team of veterans commemorating the hard-fought victory at D-Day. That's blackriflecoffee.com. blackriflecoffe.com. By the way, their coffee also happens to be excellent. I rely on it every single morning. You can too. Head on over to blackriflecoffe.com to get started. That's blackriflecoffe.com. Well, because it's Pride Month, of course, we need shows of fidelity to the agenda. This year, singer Adele, who is half of who she used to be, decided to show the way by yelling at someone. This past weekend, during a show from her Las Vegas Weekends with Adele residency, the British singer found herself sitting at the piano, doing some light crowd work when she heard someone in the audience allegedly yell, "Pride sucks." And then, well, let's see how Adele reacted.
Friday's basically the beginning of my week, because that's when I work, basically. So it's sort of like the weekdays of my weekend, an extra long weekend. What was that? Did you just say Pride sucks? Did you come to and just say that Pride sucks? Are you don't be so ridiculous. You got nothing nice to say, shut up, all right?
So much heroism. Except it turns out she's kind of deaf. You see, just days later, more footage of the incident was shared online. It appears the Grammy winner misheard what her fan yelled out. Upon further investigation, it was right after Adele riffed about how her residency means Fridays are really the beginning of her work week, and then someone yelled out, "Work sucks." Not Pride sucks, work sucks, which is not really even all that close. Do we know if Ozempic affects your hearing? Anyway, Adele embarrasses this poor man in the audience. Later, we found out he was beaten to death with an axe made of glitter in the parking lot, and his head was sent to the headquarters of the American Family Association. It's a vicious time of year. This week, we are also learning that natural experiments can be interesting. When American entrepreneur Allison Renault worked with Elon Musk to donate Starlink antenna to a 2,000-member Marubo tribe in Brazil, she believed offering them the internet for the first time ever would be a charitable act. Elon's Starlink system works by utilizing 6,000 low-orbiting satellites to provide the web to locations never thought of as connected before, supplying vital information to help with emergencies like snake bites or identifying poisonous plants, and maybe even connecting them to other Amazonian tribes and family who lived elsewhere. Spoiler alert, the tribe did not use the internet to identify poisonous plants. According to the New York Times, one tribe member says many people in the village are now hooked on. Apparently, Marubo men have been sharing graphic videos in group chats and exhibiting more aggressive sexual behavior, despite the fact that kissing in public is frowned upon in their culture. He says sometimes people are so connected they aren't even talking to their own family, unless they have a very attractive stepsister. Elder members now fear that their culture will be lost forever to a generation that sits in the basement all day and shouts at mom to get out of here, don't you even knock first? Fortunately, America is preparing to respond to this cultural crisis by sending our greatest cultural ambassador, Kim Kardashian. Now that's all I've got for today. We'll be back here next week to torture you some more. This has been Ben After Dark.